Hey everybody, Izzy and Jay here for an October lineup.
Spooky lineup. So we do have our games prepared for next month, or at least we have our list. I'm probably going to open with some Luigi's Mansion on Switch. This is going to be our first actual Switch stuff. So, you know, we're gonna be doing that. We haven't filmed Switch yet.
Well, it's still Nintendo, and it's the most modern that Nintendo's allowed us to be graced with visually.
Yeah, I have yet to play Luigi's Mansion at all, so this is going to be interesting for me as well as the audience, because it's going to be another game that I haven't played. So I keep getting into this situation where I'm playing games I've never played, so I got to get good.
Every single co-op game we've played, I've never played either.
True.
Speaking of which, we will be continuing Super Mario RPG. How long it takes.
Absolutely, it's somewhat of a longer RPG anyway, so it is going to take a while to finish. I mean, we'll probably be going through it all through October as well. And on that note, we're going to drop to some NES gameplay. I don't think we've found any NES yet.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
As far back as we've gone, I think it's Super
So
Nintendo.
we're gonna be doing Monster Party for the NES, another spooky game with bad English translations, infamously bad English translations.
You commit die.
I am dead. And I think it's going to be interesting. It's rather short, so it's not going to be too much of a headliner for the month. But I'm still going to play it, you know, and I've never played it, so it's going to be interesting, you know.
Well, speaking of scary, we're finally going to break out some scary co-op with Dead Space Extraction.
Yeah, that's actually going to be our co-op game for this month, while as Super Mario RPG is the co-op game for last month, even though you guys didn't see a lot of it. I mean, it's going to be a bit involved. Dead Space Extraction is fantastic. It's like an on-rail shooter, essentially, where we just pew at the screen. You know?
And apparently Rivet Gun is OP, please nerd. Yeah.
No patches. But going on from there, I think most people know that Super Mario 3D All-Stars came out in September, and we're going to be doing probably a 1 hour or so feature on it, similar, well, not as long as my Breaking Zelda series, and it's just going to be kind of like a featurette type thing. We're going to do some comparisons and stuff and sort of check the resolution. You know, there are some semi-scandalous accusations of his emulation, which, I mean, isn't that what all games are anyway?
To a degree, yeah. At least when you're bringing older stuff onto newer hardware. But the idea is to stick with officially licensed Nintendo tech. So that way we maintain a specific level of authenticity. And while some people may not care, for us, I think it hits upon and satisfies a bit of ingenuity, like not ingenuity, but like being genuine about stuff.
Absolutely.
And also, it's really just it hits the nostalgia factor really hard too.
For our purposes, I'm not going to consider it emulation because it is on a cartridge. It was released by Nintendo officially, and it's played on one of their original consoles.
Not to mention, it's a modified version of the game.
Yeah, therefore it meets my requirements for not actually being emulation. It would be one thing if I busted out the RetroPie and played like Link to the Past Randomizer, which is so tempting because it's so awesome, but we don't do emulation on this channel, therefore we will not be busting it out, you know?
Perhaps in the future, if it becomes something that the voices just will not stop talking about in the back of Jay's mind, We'll just have to make a little side channel for specifically the really cool stuff that people have done because of emulation. Because nobody's saying that emulation's bad here. Emulation is probably the one reason why old video games are getting as much love even today.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with emulation. It's just us as a principle, we like to use the original hardware. You know, we want the genuine experience for everyone. We don't want you to see it on, say, like, just play on PC or something. We want you to see it the way it was. You know, we love to present it that way. And if we ever do get into emulation, we will at least have some sort of disclaimer. We'll always tell you if we do, even though I do have an aversion to it, you know, principally. You guys may notice that our video quality has gone up ever so slightly, and that's because we're using some new recording software, which is going to change the game for us a little bit. And, I mean, we're always honing our craft, we're always trying to figure out better cinematography, better editing, you know, we experiment with different software, we try different sound engineering, and various other things, you know, we're always trying to get better, is what I'm getting at. So,
sometimes that just means changing up how we have to operate on our platform.
Yeah.
Different software sometimes really just give us an easier time.
Yeah, so you guys may have noticed some changes, and if you have noticed some episodes, I think I've kind of had my mic turned up a little high. That's just kind of growing pains and dialing in the new software specs and everything, you know.
Definitely having to find a sweet spot through trial and error.
Yeah, I mean, it took us a while to get the mic right on the original software, and I mean, these things take time and experience and just trial and error, really. You know, it's not like we even make any money off this. Like, we don't have that sweet sponsorship money. Like, you know, I could probably get maybe a Red Bull deal going or something, see if they want to just shout.
Just be a sweaty mess, like sitting in the corner, drinking nothing but Red Bull, and they're like, he gets, what, five views a video as long as those five people also drink Red Bull until they're 5 people.
So, Red Bull, if you're watching, send us Red Bull.
Send us wings.
And we will totally do an ad spot. But other than that, I hope you guys like our October lineup. I mean, we're excited about it. You know, there's a lot of great games in there. Some of which we've played, and some of which we're maybe not maybe worth the point. But it's kind of an experience. You know, it's like we go in here and we get these games, and they're not games we've played sometimes, not games we're good at it, you know, and it's all about the experience, and that's what video games are about in general. I mean, you know.
People head to theaters still to this day for a reason.
No, absolutely.
You can watch a movie at home when it comes out on DVD or stream it, but the theater experience for a large audience is still something that they want to enjoy.
Yeah, it's just like that first time that you get into a game, and like it's like back in the day when I remember getting into a game, playing it for the first time, and I loved it. And sometimes you get that feeling, you know, when you play games, you're outside your comfort zone, but we're just experimenting with different games. But I hope you guys like our spooky lineup, and we will be seeing you guys next month with more announcements.
And this is Izzy and Jay. We'll see you again another day. Probably 30 days from now.
Ish. I don't know what we're doing for November yet.